Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a source you brought us. It's a book called Mind Control Mastery: Techniques to Crush Your Competition. Quite a title.
It definitely is. Grabs your attention.
Yeah. So our mission here, as always, is to really unpack the key ideas from this specific book, pull out the main insights the author's offering on this, well, provocative topic.
That's right. And, right from the start, the book takes a pretty strong stance. Its core idea, really, is that free will, okay, it exists, but it's also fundamentally manipulable.
Right.
The author basically frames it as, look, you either learn to be the one doing the influencing or you risk being the one manipulated, especially in, competitive situations. So the whole point of the book, as that title suggests, is to teach you how to be the one pulling the strings, influencing your opponent's decisions.
And it makes a point of saying this isn't like magic or superpowers, right?
Exactly. No supernatural stuff. It promises a practical, step-by-step guide rooted in reality, or at least the author's version of reality.
Okay, so let's start where the book does. Defining mind control and maybe separating it from, the Hollywood version.
Sure. The book's definition is actually pretty straightforward. It's just the manipulation of free will for one's own benefit.
Simple enough. And then it jumps right into those pop culture ideas, the superpowers and all that.
Yeah, straight away. The author argues that stuff is mostly fiction. Embellishments,
Yeah.
things that go beyond logic or what's scientifically possible, according to them.
But they insist that mind control is real, just maybe not like in the movies.
Precisely. They argue it's a very real practice, and often incredibly subtle. Like, the book gives examples. Repeating a word, showing a certain color, or even just suggesting something exists can be part of it. And what's really interesting, or maybe a bit cheeky, is the book claims it's doing it to you as you read.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it says the first couple of paragraphs were an attempt to influence your opinion on mind control. And then it says the next sentence is doing it too.
Huh. That's bold. Showing its hand right in the intro. And it ties this back to psychoanalysis. Like Sigmund Freud.
It does, yeah. It's sort of Freud revisited. It talks about the conscious mind, the ego, as the decision maker. But, and this is key to the book's argument, those decisions aren't just made consciously. They're heavily shaped by the subconscious. The eyed raw emotion and the supergoes of your social norms, morals, that stuff.
Right.
So conscious choices, the book says, are mostly a result of how those subconscious parts interact.
And that's what the book sees as the target for, well, true mind control.
Exactly. The central idea is that real mind control, as the book defines it, works on the subconscious. Trying to force conscious thoughts, it argues, just makes people defensive, puts up walls.
Oh.
But influencing the subconscious, that makes the target feel like the decision was completely their own.
So it's trying to demystify it, present it as more of a psychological tool, and it seems keen to debunk some common myths, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like the idea that it's the same as stage hypnotism. The book says, well, it is a form of hypnotism technically, but not the dramatic kind. Where someone needs total focus, a quiet room, and ends up unconscious.
Right, you need the person awake and making decisions.
Exactly. Not clucking like a chicken.
And what about needing psychic powers? Or that myth about only using 10% of your brain?
Dismisses them completely. No psychic stuff needed. And on the brain thing, the book actually claims everyone uses 100% of their brain anyway. What you do need, it says, is an open and observant mind. And that's a skill you can apparently develop.
Okay, good. And thankfully, no need for painful headaches or staring really hard at people.
Yeah, the book reassures us on that.
Yeah.
No physical strain required. It even says physical presence isn't always needed long-term. An object, a word, a situation, these can become triggers that sustain the influence later on. Concentration is needed, sure, but not, as the book vividly puts it, to the point where your veins stick out of your forehead and your face twists up as if you need to poop.
Okay, I think I get the picture. So boiling down this first part, the book's saying mind control is real, subtle, based on psychology and social stuff, targets the subconscious, and is not like the fiction we see.
That's the core argument, yeah. And then it immediately pivots to say, look, these techniques, they're not hidden away. They're already being used all around you every day.
But it's careful not to make huge claims about, education or religion being mind control.
Right.
It focuses more narrowly.
Right. It explicitly avoids those broader societal claims. The focus is on media defined pretty broadly and social interactions.
So media meaning anything promoting brands or ideas.
Yeah, basically. And it gives some examples of how subtle influence might work there.
Like the intentional disarrangement in shops.
That's one. The example is clothes racks, one perfectly neat, one slightly messy. The book claims the messy one taps into our subconscious idea that if others looked at it, it must be good. So you're drawn to the popular items. A store might engineer that.
Interesting. Or using colors, like with medicine packaging.
Absolutely. Red feels strong, blue maybe milder, white is simple, like aspirin. Brands use these associations. The book even gives a slightly funny extreme example, using white Tic Tacs as cold medicine for minor sniffles, just playing on that white equals simple remedy idea.
And priming, like flowers at the entrance of a supermarket.
Yeah, the book argues that one fresh thing creates a subconscious halo effect. Makes everything seem fresher, making you more likely to buy other produce.
Timing of ads too, milk in the morning, alcohol at night.
Simple. But the book says it works by tapping into existing thoughts or situations you're already in at those times.
Product design as well. Cars that look like they're smiling.
Right. Linking the product to subconscious positive feelings, like happiness. The book claims this can sway you even if you consciously think it's silly, especially if you're not really focused on the details.
And even bigger things like national anthems or pledges.
The book frames those as subtle conditioning, reminders of group identity, loyalty. Performing the act reinforces belonging and expected behaviors. You're sort of conditioning yourself.
Okay, so the book's point is these subtle nudges are everywhere, which, naturally, leads to the question, how do you know if someone's trying these techniques on you?
Well, the main advice is vigilance, just being aware. But it admits the signs are tricky, often subtle. Ambiguity is one key thing it points out.
Ambiguity, like in conversation.
Exactly. Using open-ended questions, being deliberately vague or wishy-washy. The book suggests this can be a way to gently guide you, maybe trap you into agreement later, or twist your own reactions back at you without you quite realizing how you got there.
Intimidation seems less subtle, but the book describes it in a specific way.
Yeah, it's not always overt threats. It can be about systematically cutting off your positive options, creating a sense of hopelessness or dread around a situation. So you subconsciously start wanting to just avoid the person or the topic without fully knowing why. It creates fear.
Then there's misguided admiration. The book links this to political loyalties.
It does use that as an example. Describes it as being unwilling to see flaws in someone, fiercely defending them, dismissing any criticism as just, propaganda or fake news. That kind of unquestioning loyalty, the book suggests, could be a sign of subconscious influence.
And even just feeling doubt.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. If you feel pressured to make a decision, even a small one, but you have this nagging doubt you can't quite pin down, the book says that might signal coercion is happening, that little voice saying something's off.
So if these things might be happening daily, what does the book say about defending yourself?
Well, first, as I said, vigilance. Just knowing these techniques exist is step one. Second, it advises clarifying everything. If someone's being ambiguous, ask direct questions. Get clear statements. The book says don't worry about seeming defensive. Setting boundaries is important. It even has a slightly strange suggestion about using grammar books to help you focus on clear language.
Okay, facing your fears is another strategy.
Right. The book argues fear comes from the subconscious. So acknowledging the fear is acknowledging potential danger. That's the first step, it says, to figuring out the source and dealing with it. You can't defend if you're just trying to avoid the feeling.
And listening to others, that seems important.
Very. Opening yourself up to different viewpoints, getting input from various people. The book specifically highlights looking for contradictions. If absolutely everyone tells you the exact same thing with no variation, that could be a red flag for some kind of coordinated influence. Contrasting views suggest people are thinking freely.
Makes sense. And finally, reviewing decisions.
Before you commit, check for flaws. Actively look for alternative paths. The book is really strong on this. Never assume you have no other choice. It insists choices always exist, you just might need to look harder. Analyze your options, don't just grab the first one offered.
Okay, so that covers the book's take on defense, but the title isn't mind control defense, it's mastery and crushing competition. So inevitably, it moves to offense.
Exactly. It shifts gears, talking about counterattacks or even initiating an offensive campaign. It draws a direct line to Sun Tzu's Art of War, saying, you're sort of becoming a disciple. And preparation is absolutely key, whether you're countering or attacking first.
And the first step, like Sun Tzu, is knowing the enemy.
Crucial, according to the book. You need to gather detailed info on your target. Specifically, try to figure out if their subconscious is more driven by the id raw emotion or the superego social rules. Morality.
How do you do that?
Through careful observation, watching their actions, habits, mannerisms, specifically within the relevant battlefield, like your office or workplace.
It gives examples, right? Like looking at their desk.
Yeah, a super neat desk might mean they need order, so maybe they're easily disrupted by chaos. A cluttered desk might suggest a more adaptable mind, harder to shake up directly, just potential indicators.
Body language, too.
Oh yeah, big focus on that. Eye contact, are they comfortable or avoidant? Fidgeting, scratching, signs of discomfort. The book suggests trying to link that discomfort to specific things, objects, situations, even colors. The goal is to find their awkward subject or weak spot you could potentially press later. But casually, it warns, don't push if they back off.
Okay, then the book turns it around, knowing your capabilities. Self-assessment.
Right, you need to be honest with yourself. Can you actually handle these kinds of intense interactions? It even suggests trying to intimidate yourself in the mirror first. Practice on someone you know, not the target initially.
Practice what exactly?
Cultivating what the book calls a lovable yet intimidating persona. Subtle shifts in appearance, maybe using colors they like to seem non-threatening, while simultaneously doing something with a color they dislike to create unease.
Projecting confidence is a big part of this.
Huge. Confidence, the book claims, makes the target either watch you closely or avoid you. If they avoid you, apparently you might skip ahead in the book. But if they watch, you need to maintain that confident front constantly. Never drop your guard.
And practicing being subtle, hiding your intentions.
Yeah, like practicing getting someone's number smoothly without being obvious or creepy. If you can do that, the book implies you're learning the skill. Also, being able to hold a conversation without repeating yourself too much repetition signals you're stalling or don't know what to say.
And keeping your cool.
Absolutely critical. Never lose your composure no matter what. If you feel yourself getting emotional, the book says, disengage immediately.
And it warns against procrastination again.
Strongly. Delaying working on yourself means missing chances. Do yesterday what you should have done today. That's the mindset it pushes.
So enemy, self. The third part of prep is knowing the battlefield, the environment.
Exactly. Analyzing the physical space. Who else is around, avoiding collateral damage, as the book puts it. Always looking for the higher ground, the advantage.
How does the space itself give an advantage?
Well, an open space might make the target feel relaxed. Good for info gathering. A confined space, though, could be used to assert authority. The book suggests waiting for the right moment, maybe subtly cornering them, making escape routes lead past you, so they feel trapped before they realize it.
And just recognizing escape routes in general.
Yeah, knowing the usual paths people take to avoid interaction elevators, certain doorways, stairs. If you're attacking, avoid those spots. If defending, use them to cut things short.
And establishing your own turf.
Your zone of strength, your desk, your office, whatever. The book says you never let the target gain an edge there. The bigger goal is to expand your turf by winning confrontations elsewhere, eventually winning on their home ground to really establish dominance.
And the book stresses you need to work on all three: enemy, self, battlefield at the same time. And this is all still just getting ready.
That's right. This whole section is preparation. Chapter 4 is supposedly when you actually start to, well, strike, launching the attack, adapting your methods.
And the first step in the plan is establishing yourself as equal or superior.
Yeah, using that confidence you've built. The advice is, don't yield on small things early on, even if they seem trivial. This supposedly plants a seed of fear and helps build an aura of competence that makes people pay attention.
Then there's that 2 steps forward, 1 step backward trick. How does that work?
It's quite specific. The idea is, win 2 confrontations or battles in a row. Then on the third, deliberately let the opponent almost win. Just barely.
Why?
The book's logic is this gives them breathing room, stops them getting too suspicious, and crucially, lets them think they can actually beat you. So they keep coming back for more confrontations, where you keep winning most of them, slowly grinding down their confidence over time.
And you use the info you gathered during this process.
Yes, absolutely. Combine creating a comfortable setting, maybe wear their favorite color, use calming language with introducing something that makes them uneasy. Like if they dislike pens clicking, you subtly play with a pen. Gradually amp up the perceived threat, very subtly.
And that step backward, the near win you allow them, becomes a control mechanism.
That's the argument. Allowing the near win lowers their immediate guard. Then you can create a trigger. Maybe you ask them to hand you the pen you were fidgeting with. You stop fidgeting when they comply. So their obedience, getting the pen, is rewarded with relief. The annoying fidgeting stops. This, the book claims, plants a seed of obedience.
It sounds manipulative, which I guess is the point. But the book is realistic about failure, too. Failure makes you stronger.
It does stress that. You shouldn't expect to succeed perfectly right away. Failure is part of the process, especially early on. Having realistic expectations apparently makes defeat less damaging and makes you less vulnerable to others trying the same on you.
And if you do fail, subtlety is key.
Critically important. If your attempt was so subtle that the opponent didn't even notice you tried something and failed, then they don't gain any confidence boost, they don't see any weakness. You have to maintain that appearance of being at least their equal. Nevertheless.
What about a big, undeniable failure, a crushing defeat?
The advice is, accept it. Learn from it. Don't repeat the mistake. And it suggests defeat can actually create an opportunity because winners often get complacent. Something like 75% become less guarded. You should aim to be in the 25% who stay vigilant, even in victory.
And the advice to fight one battle at a time, don't show your whole hand.
Right. Don't just throw every trick you have into one encounter. Stick to your plan for that specific situation. Using everything at once just reveals your limits too soon.
But what if you're cornered? You have to win this specific fight.
The book offers a specific tactic for that. Use only your single best weapon, your ace in the hole.
Why just one?
2 reasons given. First, the opponent won't know it was your best shot, so they'll stay wary, expecting more, which apparently crushes morale. Second, if your absolute best move fails, then using weaker ones afterwards is pointless anyway. Time to withdraw, regroup, figure out stronger tactics, and assess the damage.
Okay. And the final point in this section is strike when least expected.
Yeah, circling back to that anti-procrastination theme. Prepare plans in advance so you can spot opportunities as they arise. The office example is, don't just perform well when promotions are discussed. Do slightly better than average consistently beforehand.
To plant that seed of inferiority.
Exactly. The idea is to make them think, wow, if they're this good without the promotion, imagine how good they'll be with it. Maybe they'll just concede defeat early. That's dominance, according to the book.
And the related energy surge technique.
Similar idea. Perform slightly above average normally, but then have occasional unpredictable bursts of really high competence. This creates the illusion you're holding back most of the time, that you can be amazing whenever you want. But don't overdo it, the book warns, or you'll burn out.
And throughout all this, stay casual.
Yeah, don't show the effort. But also don't be arrogant. Arrogance suggests your current level is your maximum, which the book calls a bluff others might waste time challenging.
Okay, so these offensive strikes are meant to gain the upper hand. Let those planted seeds grow. Which leads into the next stage. Deepening control and aiming for dominance.
Right, chapter 5. This is about keeping up the pressure of the flurry to solidify things. Still taking it one battle at a time, but now you're increasing the intensity, the potency, trying to directly influence their next actions.
It starts with conditioning or planting seeds, using a movie example, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, it uses that film to illustrate how an early, perhaps accidental, seed of inferiority or fear can dramatically affect someone's behavior long term. The book admits you can't really go back and plant seeds perfectly from the start, so influence won't be total, but you can still significantly shape things now.
Consistency is key here.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Pick one main seed, fear, obedience, or inferiority, and really focus your efforts. Practice the relevant techniques daily until you see a clear shift in their behavior, but keep backup seeds in mind too.
And the book gives signs to watch for to see if it's working.
Yes. For fear, they might start avoiding you, seem startled when you appear. Though if nothing changes, maybe they've sensed your attempts. For obedience, they offer favors more often, especially linked to conditions you set, like doing something earns them relief from a subtle threat, or gets them a small reward they desire. But don't get dependent on them, it warns. For inferiority, they might go quiet around you, fade into the background, let others lead, maybe even visibly shrink back when you enter a room, especially if they were normally assertive there.
Once the seeds seem to be taking root, the next phase is reinforcement.
This is about locking it in, because the opponent might realize something's wrong and try to push back or break free. Your goal here is to shut that down by upping the frequency and intensity of your methods.
How do you reinforce fear, according to the book?
Stay near them, often not stalking, but just present. Be the first and last person they see at work. Maybe join their social group if it's a single target. Always have that triggering object or color or word subtly present, not waving it around, just there, making your presence feel unavoidable in that competitive space.
Reinforcing obedience.
Repeat the established scenario often. but slightly reduce the reward each time, conditioning them to obey for less return. Give the full reward sometimes, so they still believe compliance is worthwhile. And the reward has to be based on what they value from your earlier research, not just something you feel like giving.
And reinforcing inferiority.
Look for every chance to outperform them. Pick tasks you're good at, even small ones, and make sure you win visibly at their expense. Also, use your research. Find tasks they excel at and learn them yourself.
And just keep doing this over and over.
The book literally says, rinse and repeat until manipulating them feels automatic. Then you move to the final phase in this sequence,
Which is establishing dominance.
This should be the easiest phase if you did the conditioning and reinforcement well, the book claims. But it is also the most dangerous. This is where the opponent might make one last big push to break free. If they succeed here, the book warns, they become much harder, maybe impossible, to control again. They might even turn the tables.
So spotting those escape attempts is vital.
And the book gives pointers based on the seed. Fear target tries to escape. They might finally stand up, argue back. The advice: crush their attempt publicly. Convince others their idea is bad for the group. Find a better proposal. Never let them win this fight. It shows you can be beaten.
An obedience target trying to break free.
Any disobedience, however minor, the response should be immediate, appropriate punishment. Give the reward they wanted to someone else, or use it yourself where they can see. Crucially, never do the task they refuse to do yourself. That teaches them resistance works. You end up doing it, encouraging more pushback.
And the inferiority target.
They'll likely try to beat you in their area of skill. Use your research, learn that skill, then perform it brilliantly just once. Show them you're superior, even at their best thing. That one display, the book argues, establishes absolute dominance. So the book presents dominance as the final step to crushing that competitor. But it adds it's not truly the end. They could still escape, especially with outside help, which leads to the next chapter.
Right, expanding your sphere of influence.
Yeah, the idea is beating one person is just step one. Others around them have likely noticed, maybe even been affected. The problem now is you probably don't have detailed intel on them.
The book talks about preventing the target's emotional escape. What does that mean?
It means ensuring the target remains functional. The goal, the book reiterates, is to influence their decisions in the competition, not to destroy them personally or professionally. Crush their professional will, not their will to live.
So setting limits.
Exactly. Keep it focused on the competition. Don't make it personal. Using personal info gathered earlier is borderline, the book says. It depends how you use it for professional leverage. Fine. For personal attacks, not fine.
And complacency is still a danger, even after dominance.
Big danger. Keep reinforcing your methods subtly. Complacency also makes you a target for third parties who watched you win. You're the alpha now. You have to stay alert.
How does the book suggest minimizing interference from those third parties, preventing them from helping your target?
The main strategy is to make the target believe help won't come, so they don't even bother seeking it. For a fear target trying to find safety with others, you counter by becoming the third wheel, always lurking just outside their conversations, making any comfort they find feel temporary, reinforcing that ultimately they'll be alone with their fear of you again.
What about obedience or inferiority targets getting help?
Those are apparently easier. An obedient target might actually defend their subservient choices to others, pushing helpers away. An inferiority target's resignation often just frustrates potential rescuers. The book suggests hammering the nail by decisively beating the inferiority target one more time right in front of the helpers to show them it's hopeless. This process, the book claims, helps you claim an immovable foothold. Your influence persists even when you're not there, deeply embedded in their subconscious.
And it even suggests turning the would-be helpers into future targets.
It does. By showing them you're dominant, you make them wary of you. They start wasting energy, worrying about you, become distracted, which makes them easier targets down the line, should you choose. The book acknowledges this sounds pretty extreme, but frames it as necessary for securing your own future in that competitive arena.
Which brings us finally to the last chapter discussed, the responsibilities of the victor.
Right. So you've won. You've established dominance. Now what? The book says you have responsibilities. Set limits. Don't add insult to injury. A true victor, it says, respects the defeated.
It mentions victory can be intoxicating, especially the first time.
Yeah. And responsibility number one is stay sober. Avoid bragging.
Yeah.
There's a line between confidence and arrogance. Rubbing it in just breeds resentment and forces you to defend your wins sooner.
And the second responsibility.
Check the damage. Make sure your opponent is still breathing, still functional. If they're too broken, the advice is to actually dial back the influence a bit. Hold back. Why? Because you need them functional to keep influencing their decisions for your benefit.
The book lists some pretty severe negative effects if you don't hold back, if you cross that line.
Yeah, things like becoming aloof, hostile to others because they can't challenge you, or developing an unhealthy dependence on you, making them unable to function without your presence. It even notes that if there's sexual compatibility, this dependence could be mistaken for being in love, leading to possessiveness.
So knowing the line not to cross is vital.
And the book says that line is crossed when those severe effects appear. It insists never attack the parts of them that let them function outside the competition. Keep it professional. Use personal info professionally for leverage, yes, but never to attack their personal life. And absolutely, positively do not involve family members.
It's very firm on the family point.
Extremely. If family gets caught in the crossfire, you must back off. If you really can't stop entirely, only use family as a brief reminder in a breather phase, never offensively. You don't want that on your conscience, the book states. And it finishes by saying, look, doing all this takes real emotional and mental strength from you. Keep yourself together, don't get frustrated, or you could end up being the one who collapses.
Okay, so let's try to wrap up this deep dive into mind control mastery, techniques to crush your competition. We've gone through how this particular book defines mind control not as magic, but as a subtle, psychological, social process targeting the subconscious, especially in competitive arenas. Very different from pop culture ideas.
Yeah, and we traced its path, seeing influence in daily life, then defense strategies, then the whole preparation phase for offense, knowing the enemy, yourself, the battlefield.
Followed by the tactics for attacking, the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, handling failure, striking unexpectedly.
Then deepening control through conditioning and reinforcement, aiming for dominance, dealing with escape attempts.
Expanding influence, handling third parties, and finally, the responsibilities the book says come with actually winning this way. And the book itself includes pretty strong warnings, doesn't it? Don't use this for illegal or immoral things. Don't take advantage outside of competition. It draws a clear line there.
It does, and it stresses respecting the knowledge, not waving it around carelessly like a loaded gun.
The book ends by saying mastery takes more than just reading. It requires rereading, constant practice, development over time. So, considering everything we've unpacked from this source, the sheer subtlety involved, the long-term commitment it seems to demand, the detailed planning, the risks, the ethical lines the book itself draws, and the responsibilities it places on the victor. What does this perspective really imply about the true cost, the true commitment needed to actually master this kind of influence? Is that goal of crushing your competition, framed this way by this author, actually worth that level of personal effort and, frankly, the potential ethical weight?
It's definitely just one author's take, one source. But yeah, digging into it like this certainly brings up some big, maybe uncomfortable questions about power, how we compete, and just human interaction in general, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.